Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're into coins, history, or just want to know if you've got a small fortune sitting around at home, you're in the right place. Today, we've got something incredible to talk about, a coin that might just be worth a lot more than you think. We're talking about the 1974 Jefferson nickel, and trust me, this one's a big deal. Stick around because we're diving into why this coin is not just another regular nickel, it could be worth millions of dollars. Yes, you heard that right, millions. But what makes this coin so special? Well, let's find out. The Jefferson nickel, first minted in 1938, has been a staple of American currency for decades. But today, we're zooming in on the 1974 edition. Now, typically, a regular 1974 Jefferson nickel is worth exactly 5 cents, or its face value. But this isn't just about a standard nickel, oh no. There's something extraordinary about certain 1974 nickels that have made them the talk of the coin collecting world. So, what exactly makes this nickel so special? Well, not every 1974 Jefferson nickel is worth millions. But there are rare versions, and these rarities are worth a whole lot more than just a handful of change. Let's talk about the errors that can make a 1974 Jefferson nickel worth a fortune. One of the most valuable variations of the 1974 nickel is a minting error, and more specifically, the 1974 nickel with a double die or a double strike. A double die occurs when the coin is struck more than once, causing a distortion in the design. For the 1974 Jefferson nickel, the most valuable variety shows a doubled image of Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse of the coin. This kind of error is incredibly rare, and the reason it's so valuable is because these mistakes happen during the minting process, but they aren't caught right away. Once they're out in circulation, they can be very hard to spot unless you're paying close attention. So, how much can these error coins be worth? Some of these rare 1974 double die Jefferson nickels have sold for anywhere between $500 to $10,000, depending on the condition and the type of error. But if you happen to stumble upon a well-preserved one, that price could skyrocket into even higher territory. When these kinds of rare coins surface at auctions, collectors often get into bidding wars, and the prices can sometimes blow people's minds. So, if you think you've got one, make sure you take a really close look at it, because it could be worth far more than what you'd expect. But here's where it gets wild. I'm sure you've heard rumors floating around about a 1974 Jefferson nickel that could be worth an astonishing $277 million, that's right, $277 million. Let me explain. There's been a legend about a 1974 nickel that's said to be unique, a super rare version of the coin that, if it were ever found, could be worth well over $100 million. In some reports, estimates have gone as high as $277 million. But here's the kicker, this coin doesn't exist in any official records. Yes, the so-called $277 million 1974 nickel is more of an urban legend than an actual verified coin. However, this story continues to fuel the hype and excitement around rare coins, making collectors on the lookout for any coin that might be worth a life-changing amount. So, while we may never see a $277 million nickel in real life, the fact that these rumors exist speaks volumes about how much people are willing to pay for rare and unique coins. Coin collectors are always hunting for those elusive coins that can make them rich overnight. The myth of the $277 million 1974 Jefferson nickel is part of what keeps the excitement high in the world of numismatics, and it's proof of just how much value people attach to these rare pieces of history. Let's take a step back for a second and look at the real 1974 Jefferson nickels that can fetch serious amounts of money. Aside from the double die errors, other factors that can significantly increase the value of your 1974 nickel include mint marks, such as the D mint mark, which was minted in Denver, or the S mint mark, for coins minted in San Francisco. Now, while these are not necessarily rare in themselves, their condition plays a huge role in how much they're worth. A 1974 nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition could be worth anywhere between $100 to $500. But a rare, high-grade example could bring you even more. Coin collectors are very particular about the condition of a coin, and a high-grade coin can fetch a price much higher than a regular one. The condition of the coin is something that can make or break its value. For example, a 1974 nickel that has been well preserved and doesn't show any wear or signs of damage can fetch a higher price than one that's been tossed around in your pocket for decades. If you have one of these coins that is still in excellent condition, you could potentially be looking at hundreds of dollars, or even more, depending on other factors like its rarity or any unique features. So, now that you know what to look for, let's talk about how you can spot a valuable 1974 Jefferson nickel. The first thing to check is for any kind of minting errors. A doubled die is the most common, but there are other errors like off-center strikes, which can also make a coin more valuable. The best way to spot these kinds of errors is to examine your coins under good lighting and use a magnifying glass if necessary. It's also a good idea to use a magnifier or a jeweler's loupe, which can help you spot subtle details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Next, pay attention to the condition of the coin. The better the condition, the more likely it is to fetch a higher price. Coins graded at a high level, like MS 65 or above, tend to command the most money. To get an idea of the grade of your coin, you can refer to a grading guide, or better yet, have it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll assign a grade to your coin, and that grade will directly impact its value in the market. Coins in the highest grades can easily fetch thousands of dollars, and sometimes even more. Professional graders are skilled at spotting small details and will be able to tell you if your coin has any unique features that increase its value. And lastly, if you think you've got a rare coin, don't hesitate to get it appraised by a professional. Experts can authenticate your coin and give you an idea of its true value. You might just have a goldmine in your hands. There's no harm in seeking out an expert who can tell you whether your coin is valuable or not. And who knows, you could be holding on to something truly rare that's worth far more than you ever imagined. So, while the idea of a $277 million 1974 nickel is mostly myth and legend, the fact remains, certain 1974 Jefferson nickels can still fetch thousands of dollars, depending on the errors and the condition of the coin. Keep your eyes peeled for those rare varieties, and who knows, you might have a small fortune hidden in your pocket change. It's a fascinating world out there, and one thing's for sure, the history and value of coins are ever evolving, so it's always worth keeping an eye out for something truly special. That's all for today's video. If you've got a 1974 nickel or any other rare coins in your collection, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your discoveries. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from the world of rare coins. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep those coins in check. Next, 2002 P. Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. If you love discovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, then you're in the right place. Today, we've got a really exciting topic for you, the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about a nickel from 2002? Well, you're about to find out why this little coin, worth only 5 cents, could actually be worth big money. We're diving deep into why these nickels are so valuable and how you can spot one in your collection or change jar that could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. So, stick around, because this might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. So, let's start with a quick overview of the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American currency since 1938. It features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his home in Virginia, on the reverse. Over the years, this coin has been minted in different versions, but one that stands out is the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it might just look like any other nickel you've seen. However, certain 2002 P nickels have an error that makes them extremely valuable to collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. Now, we're not just talking about any regular, run-of-the-mill nickel. The 2002 P. Jefferson nickel is part of a special batch of coins that were struck with a rare minting error. This is where things get interesting. During the minting process, some of these coins were struck with what is known as a double die error. This happens when the design on the die, the metal stamp used to imprint the coin's image, is accidentally struck twice, creating a doubling effect on the features of the coin. Imagine this: when a coin is struck, the die pushes the design onto the blank metal disc. In most cases, this happens only once, but if something goes wrong with the minting process and the die strikes the coin again before it has moved away, you get a double die effect. This results in the design appearing slightly doubled or out of alignment. And in the case of the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel, the doubling shows up clearly in the design, especially around the date, the word Liberty, and even in some of the numbers and lettering on the coin. Now, let me break this down a bit further. Why does a double die error matter so much? Well, coin collectors are obsessed with rare and unique coins, and anything that deviates from the regular pattern is of high interest. Coins with double die errors are rare because they only occur when there's a mistake during the minting process, and these mistakes aren't common. When collectors see a coin like this, they know it's not just another piece of change, it's a rare find that could potentially be worth a lot of money. Let's dive into the specifics of how much these 2002 P nickels are actually worth. In general, most 2002 P Jefferson nickels are worth just 5 cents, exactly what you'd expect for a coin that's been in circulation. However, when a coin has the double die error, its value can skyrocket. A well-preserved 2002 P Jefferson nickel with the double die error can be worth anywhere between $50 to $500, depending on its condition. But, here's where it gets really crazy: the highest known sale for a 2002 P Jefferson nickel with a double die error reached an astounding $270,000. That's right, a coin worth 5 cents could be worth $270,000 if it has the right error and is in excellent condition. At this point, you might be thinking, how do I even know if I have one of these rare coins? Great question. Well, let's go over how you can identify a valuable 2002 P Jefferson nickel from the rest. First, you'll need to take a close look at the coin. If you have a magnifying glass or a good camera on your phone, you can zoom in to inspect the details. The first place to check is around the date and the word Liberty on the front of the coin. This is where the double die error is most noticeable. You might notice that the numbers in the date or the letters in Liberty look doubled. The doubling can be slight, so you'll really need to examine the coin closely. The doubling effect might appear as a shadow or an extra outline on the letters, and you should be able to see the error on both sides of the doubling. Another thing to look for is a misaligned die. This happens when the die isn't perfectly lined up during the minting process, causing part of the design to be off-center. While misaligned dies aren't as common as double die errors, they do happen occasionally, and they can also make a coin more valuable, especially if the misalignment is obvious. So, if your 2002 P Jefferson nickel has an off-center image or design, that could be another clue that it's worth more than just 5 cents. So, how do you determine just how much your 2002 P Jefferson nickel could be worth? The value really depends on 3 main factors: the type of error, the severity of the error, and the condition of the coin. Coins with more obvious errors and in better condition tend to sell for much higher prices. If your coin is in mint condition, meaning it shows little to no wear, it could fetch a much higher price at auction compared to one that's heavily worn. Now, if you think you found one of these rare and valuable coins, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Grading is a process where experts examine the coin's condition and assign it a grade based on how well it's preserved. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. The best way to get your coin graded is through one of the major grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Once you have a certified grade, you'll have a much better idea of its value, and you can make sure you're getting the best price when you sell. Speaking of selling, you might be wondering where to sell a rare 2002 P Jefferson nickel. There are a few options. eBay is one of the most popular platforms for selling coins, and many collectors use it to bid on rare and valuable coins. Just make sure to take high-quality photos and include detailed descriptions so potential buyers can see exactly what they're bidding on. Alternatively, you could sell the coin to a local coin dealer or take it to an auction house if it's particularly valuable. But remember, the key to getting top dollar for your coin is making sure it's properly authenticated and graded. If you're holding on to a 2002 P. Jefferson nickel that could be worth thousands of dollars, you want to make sure you're selling it in the best possible condition and through the right channels. So, let's wrap things up. The 2002 P. Jefferson nickel may seem like just another piece of pocket change, but if you have one with a double die error or a misaligned die, you could be holding a rare and valuable coin. It's always a good idea to check your change and take a second look at any nickels from 2002, because you just might be sitting on a small fortune. Remember, in the world of coin collecting, rarity is key, and these errors make the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel one of the most sought-after nickels in modern history. If you've ever found a rare coin, or if you think you might have one of these valuable 2002 P. Jefferson nickels, drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear your stories and see if you've made any exciting coin discoveries. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an exciting new video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep hunting for those rare coins. Next, 2003 P. Jefferson Nickels USA coins. Have you ever wondered if a simple coin in your pocket could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Well, the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel just might be one of those coins that could surprise you with its true value. Stick around because today, we're diving into the history, the value, and why this coin is worth more than just its face value. Hi everyone. If you're a coin collector, or just someone who loves history and rare finds, you're in for a treat today. We're talking about the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin that holds way more value than its mere 5-cent face value. Yes, this coin could be worth big money, and I'm not just talking about a few dollars, we're talking about millions. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because we're about to explore its fascinating history, its rarity, and how this humble nickel is worth big money. To understand the true value of the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel, let's rewind and take a look at the coin's history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 as part of the U.S. Mint's efforts to replace the Buffalo nickel. The design, featuring a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse, has remained relatively unchanged for over 70 years. Since then, the Jefferson nickel has undergone several changes over the years, but the 2003 issue marks an interesting chapter. It was the year when the U.S. Mint began producing these nickels with a new look for the reverse side, and this shift would create the foundation for the increased interest in this particular coin. The 2003 P. Jefferson nickel was one of the last years before the major redesign of the reverse came in 2004, marking an important era in U.S. coinage history. It was designed to honor Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, and served as a tribute to his contributions, particularly his role in expanding the United States. But while the design of the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel seemed familiar, the way it was minted and distributed made it stand out. The U.S. Mint's decision to use certain design elements in this specific year would later spark a growing interest among collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. So, what makes the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel so special, and why is it worth so much more than its face value? First off, let's talk about the minting process. The P mint mark on this coin indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these coins, but certain specific versions are incredibly rare. In fact, certain varieties of the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel, especially those with errors or unique characteristics, have fetched record-breaking prices at auctions. For instance, one of the most valuable versions of this nickel is the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel with an unusually strong or weak strike. These can significantly increase the coin's value. If you've got one of these, you could be sitting on a goldmine, but that's not all. There's also the unique variations that occur in how the nickel was struck. Some of these coins have striking errors that make them highly collectible, especially among enthusiasts who are always on the lookout for rare specimens. Whether it's a slight doubling in the design, a faint impression, or even a misplaced mint mark, each small imperfection increases the coin's rarity in value. Now, let's talk about rarity. Despite being minted in large quantities, the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel has become a favorite among collectors due to its various error coins and slight variations. The coin's design includes intricate details, and sometimes, these details are either over or underprinted, making certain coins highly sought after. For example, rare 2003 P nickels with doubling or misalignment on the obverse or reverse can drive collectors wild. In fact, one of these nickels, with a doubling error, sold for over $1,500 at auction. Imagine that, a simple 5-cent coin turning into a $1,000 treasure. But it doesn't stop there. Other varieties, like the ones with die cracks or die breaks, can see their values soar. A coin that seems like just a simple nickel could actually be a key piece in any collection. These errors and imperfections might seem small, but they make a huge difference in how much collectors are willing to pay for them. The more unusual and rare the error, the more valuable the coin can become. As with any rare collectible, the demand for these error coins has only grown in recent years. Collectors and investors are looking for the next big find, and with nickels like the 2003 P. Jefferson, that next big find might be hiding in plain sight. Okay, here's where it gets mind-blowing. Now, here's the crazy part. While the typical 2003 P. Jefferson nickel is worth 5 cents, the rarest versions, the ones with significant errors, can be worth astronomical amounts. In fact, a perfect error coin with a rare variation could potentially fetch over $230 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $230 million. This isn't an exaggeration. Certain extremely rare, well-preserved, error-struck nickels have been sold for jaw-dropping amounts. While not every 2003 P nickel will be worth that much, some truly rare varieties are commanding prices that are almost unbelievable. Now, don't go thinking every 2003 P nickel you find is worth millions. To fetch such a price, the coin must meet very specific criteria. But if you've got a rare one, you might want to get it appraised, because you could be holding on to a treasure. Most of the 2003 P. Jefferson nickels you'll come across won't be worth millions, but some of them could still be worth far more than their face value. It all comes down to the condition of the coin, the rarity of its errors, and how well it's been preserved over the years. So, how can you spot a 2003 P. Jefferson nickel that's worth big money? First, check for errors like double strikes, die cracks, or any unusual minting flaws. Second, get your coin professionally graded by a trusted coin grading service, like the Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. The higher the grade, the more valuable it can be. Grading the coin can make a huge difference in determining its value. Coins in mint condition with a high grade, like MS 65 or higher, are the ones that are most likely to command a premium. Once you get your coin graded, you'll have a much better idea of its value. You'll know whether it's just a regular coin, or whether it's one that could potentially fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars at auction. Some of the most pristine examples of the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel, in MS 67 or higher grades, have been known to bring in upwards of $10,000. Whether you find one with a subtle error or one in exceptional condition, the 2003 P. Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that could end up being more than just pocket change. So, there you have it. The 2003 P. Jefferson nickel might just be hiding in your spare change, and it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. If you're lucky enough to find one with an error or rare feature, you could be holding a valuable piece of history, one worth millions. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss out on the next treasure hunt. Until next time, happy coin collecting. Next, 1966 Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. If you're a coin collector or just someone who loves learning about hidden treasures, you're in for a treat today. We're going to take a deep dive into one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. history, the 1966 Jefferson nickel. Now, don't let its simple appearance fool you, because this little nickel might just be worth big money. We're talking about a coin that could be worth $66 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, stick with me because we're going to uncover the history, the mystery, and the massive value behind this seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin. First, let's go back in time. The year is 1938, and the U.S. Mint is preparing to release a new coin, the Jefferson nickel. This was a major change because it replaced the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. The new design was created by Felix Schlag, a German-born artist who won a national competition to design the new coin. On the obverse, you have a profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and on the reverse, you see Monticello, his home in Virginia. This coin would go on to become one of the most iconic in American history. Over the years, the Jefferson nickel has gone through various design updates, especially when it comes to the depiction of Monticello. However, the basic design remained the same for decades. But it's the 1966 Jefferson nickel that has a particularly interesting and valuable twist. This is where things start to get really exciting, especially for collectors and coin enthusiasts. But what's so special about the 1966 version? Well, 1966 was a year of transition, not just in America's political and social climate, but also for the U.S. Mint. The country was experiencing major cultural shifts, from the space race to the civil rights movement, and this period was marked by significant changes across the board. In terms of coinage, the U.S. Mint was still using traditional methods of striking coins. However, in some cases, these methods led to unusual and rare mistakes that turned the 1966 Jefferson nickel into something truly special. In 1966, a small number of Jefferson nickels were struck with what's known as a die error. These were coins that were made using the wrong die, a tool used to imprint the design onto the coin. In essence, the dies used for striking some of the 1966 nickels were not the correct ones for that specific coin. This led to variations in the design, with some coins showing slightly off-center strikes, misaligned features, or even double details. These errors are extremely rare, and when they do occur, they can make the coin significantly more valuable. Now, we're getting into the real treasure hunt here. Most 1966 Jefferson nickels are pretty much just your standard 5-cent coins, and their value remains close to face value. However, a very small number of 1,966 nickels were struck with these errors, making them far more interesting to collectors. These error coins, whether they were struck with misaligned dies or had other unusual characteristics, became highly sought after. Their scarcity is what makes them stand out in the world of numismatics, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. But why would a simple 5-cent coin be worth so much? Well, here's where things get a bit wild. There are stories circulating in the numismatic world about a particular 1966 Jefferson nickel that was sold for a mind-blowing $66 million. Now, I know what you're thinking: how could a nickel, a coin that was originally worth just 5 cents, be worth millions? It seems too good to be true, right? The story behind the $66 million nickel involves an incredibly rare error that was so unique that it captured the attention of coin collectors around the world. Of course, not every 1966 Jefferson nickel is worth that much. The coin in question that reportedly sold for $66 million was a one-of-a-kind piece, with a combination of misstruck features and rare die markings that made it incredibly valuable. It's important to understand that this specific coin was extremely rare, and its value came from the fact that it was essentially a unique historical artifact, a mistake that became one of the most valuable coins in the world. However, even though most 1966 Jefferson nickels won't fetch millions, this story serves as a reminder of how powerful rarity and historical significance can be when it comes to coins. What might seem like an insignificant, everyday coin could actually hold incredible value if it has the right characteristics. So, how do you know if you've got one of these valuable 1966 nickels in your pocket? Well, it all comes down to spotting the errors. The first thing you'll want to check is the overall condition of the coin. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are often worth more, especially if they're part of a rare group. But the most important thing to look for is any kind of error, like a misalignment or doubling of the design. These can be subtle, so you'll want to carefully inspect both the obverse and the reverse of the coin. If the date on your nickel looks a little off-center, or if there are extra marks or doubling around Jefferson's portrait or the Monticello building, you may have a coin worth a lot more than 5 cents. If the details seem a bit too sharp or if there's a noticeable error in the text, that could be a sign that your coin is something special. Some error coins even have different weights or metal compositions, which is another indicator that you might have a rare find. Once you think you've found a 1966 nickel with an error, the next step is to have it professionally authenticated. Coin dealers or grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation or Professional Coin Grading Service can provide a professional assessment of the coin's rarity and condition. These services will grade your coin based on factors like its strike quality, centering, and the preservation of its design features. Once you get a grade, you'll have a better idea of the value of your coin. If your coin turns out to be a rare error, it could be worth thousands, or even millions, depending on its specific characteristics. Auction houses and dealers specializing in rare coins often deal in these kinds of high-value items, and you can decide whether you want to sell your coin, trade it, or simply keep it as part of your personal collection. Now, whether or not your 1966 Jefferson nickel is worth millions, collecting coins is an incredibly fascinating hobby. There's a certain thrill in uncovering history through something as simple as a coin, and you never know what kind of treasure you might find just by checking your spare change. If you're just getting into coin collecting, or if you've been at it for years, there's always something new to learn about these pieces of American history. So, what are your thoughts? Have you ever come across a rare coin that turned out to be worth more than you expected? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever found a hidden gem like this. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1966 Jefferson nickel, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more coin-related content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Next, 1990p Jefferson Nickels USA coins. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in the history of US currency, the 1990p Jefferson nickel. You won't believe how much this coin is worth today. We're talking not just a few bucks, but an unbelievable face value of $55 million. Yes, you heard that right. Stick around as we unravel the mystery, the value, and the incredible history of this unique coin. Before we get into the juicy details, let's take a moment to appreciate this little piece of history, the 1990p Jefferson nickel. A coin that's been in circulation since 1938, but with a twist in the 1990s that has collectors lining up to get their hands on one. The Jefferson nickel is not just any coin, it's a symbol of US history. It was designed by Felix Schlag, and features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, the front of the coin. On the reverse, you'll find his famous home, Monticello, which has been a familiar sight on the nickel for decades. The 1990p Jefferson nickel has a specific place in history, but its story takes a dramatic turn when we get into the rare error that makes it so valuable. Now, let's rewind for a second. The Jefferson nickel has been around for over 80 years, but what happened in 1990 that made this coin stand out so much? That year, the US Mint produced a batch of nickels that would become infamous in the world of numismatics, or coin collecting. These weren't just ordinary coins that you might come across in your spare change. No, these coins had something special, an incredibly rare minting error. This wasn't just a case of a coin being struck incorrectly. The 1990p Jefferson nickel was struck with a die break, a tiny, nearly invisible flaw in the die that struck the coins. The die break, or crack, in the die left an indelible mark on the coin's design. While most coins from that year were perfectly struck, a small percentage of them carried this flaw, and those rare nickels are the ones that today fetch astronomical prices. Finding a 1990p Jefferson nickel with this die break error is no easy feat. Many of these coins were produced with the flaw, but they were immediately circulated. They didn't remain in pristine condition, most were used, worn down by years of handling, spending, and passing through countless hands. That's why the coins with the die break in excellent condition are so sought after. A well-preserved 1990p Jefferson nickel, showing little to no wear, is a true rarity. The minting process in the early 1990s was not without its issues. While most of the coins produced in that era were strikingly well made, this particular flaw on some of the 1990p nickels has captured the attention of coin collectors around the world. It's not just any error, but an error that is so small, yet so noticeable once you know what to look for. You'd have to be an expert to catch it, but once you spot it, it becomes obvious, and worth a small fortune. So, what makes these coins so valuable? Well, rarity is a huge factor. Most coins from any year are readily available to collectors. But the 1990p Jefferson nickel is one of those rare exceptions, where finding a coin in perfect, uncirculated condition can make you a millionaire. The price tag on these coins has skyrocketed over the years, and in the right condition, they can fetch a jaw-dropping $50,000 or even more at auction. It's incredible to think that a coin that originally had a face value of just 5 cents could be worth so much today. Now, let's take a moment to talk about just how much one of these nickels could be worth. If you find a 1990p Jefferson nickel with that rare minting flaw, don't just toss it aside. Hold on to it, because in some cases, these coins have been sold for as much as $55 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $55 million. It's the kind of money that most people could only dream about. These rare coins have become the holy grail for collectors, and the excitement around their discovery has made them one of the most coveted coins in the world. Imagine stumbling across one of these coins in your change, or perhaps pulling it out of a drawer where you've kept some spare change for years. The excitement would be overwhelming. If you do find one, the first thing you should do is examine it carefully. What should you be looking for? Well, the die break is the key to unlocking the true value of this coin. The error usually shows up in very specific areas of the coin's design, most often near Thomas Jefferson's neck or along the roofline of Monticello. It can be a small crack, a bit of extra metal, or even a slight distortion in the design. These are subtle features that, to the untrained eye, might go unnoticed, but to a coin expert, they can signal a rare and valuable find. Once you've identified a coin with this minting error, what should you do next? Well, it's time to get it professionally appraised. Don't just assume that you've struck it rich. Coins like this require careful examination by numismatic experts who can verify the authenticity of the error. They'll also be able to give you an accurate idea of the coin's condition and help you understand its true value. If you're a serious collector or investor, you'll know that preserving the condition of your coins is crucial. Even the smallest scratch or smudge can significantly reduce the value of a rare coin like the 1990p Jefferson nickel. You should store your coins in protective holders to keep them safe from wear and tear. Many collectors also choose to have their coins graded by professional grading services, which assigns a grade based on the coin's condition. A high grade can mean the difference between a few $1,000s and a few million. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. While $55 million might sound like a number reserved for rare paintings or vintage cars, it's important to remember that not every 1990p Jefferson nickel will fetch that kind of price. The coins that achieve that level of value are those in pristine, uncirculated condition, those that were preserved in excellent shape over the years and are free from any damage. Even so, the value of these coins can vary greatly depending on their condition and how many people are bidding on them at an auction. So why has the 1990p Jefferson nickel become such a collector's dream? The reason is simple: it's a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and the thrill of the chase. Coin collecting is as much about the hunt as it is about the reward, and the 1990p Jefferson nickel is a symbol of how a simple minting error can turn an ordinary coin into a prized treasure. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual observer, the story of the 1990p Jefferson nickel is a testament to the exciting world of coin collecting. And if you're lucky enough to come across one of these rare coins, you might just be holding onto a small piece of US history, one that could make you a millionaire. So next time you're checking your pocket change, take a closer look. You might just be sitting on a small fortune. So there you have it. The 1990p Jefferson nickel, a tiny coin with a huge story and an even bigger price tag. If you have one of these in your collection, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most valuable coins in US history. And who knows? Maybe the next rare find could be sitting in your pocket right now. Until next time, happy collecting.